Well, hey there, little mama. It is the beginning of the year. I don't know if you feel like me, but I bet you do. I feel real carbed, full. My brain is foggy. I did not eat well. I don't know if you all know, but my kids are really good chefs, like cooks. They all cook really, really well. My oldest daughter did really well in keeping her stuff healthy. And she volunteered to make extra for all of us, but none of us took her up on that. No, because our other daughter, who makes the mashed potatoes, yeah, we were eating hers with all the good stuff in it. Anyways, all that to say, it is January and we are in a mom set reset. We're resetting everything. We're resetting our physical, our mental, our spiritual, our relational, our emotional. We're working on all these parts to bring us back up to speed in our lives because, a mom that has a mom that is aware of what's going on inside of her own body is going to be a better mom. Now, I'm not all about being totally focused on you as a mom because you don't have time for that. But you do have to do some things. And we talk about self-care, but this is really this is a godly thing to do. This is an honoring thing to do because God gave you your body and he gave you all of these wonderful pieces of you. And we can get off. So we're resetting, and we're resetting here on all of our shows. And if you're in the academy, you are getting master classes on reset, and they're really good. So if you're not in the academy, why aren't you in the academy? Y'all need to find out about being in the academy and hop in with all the rest of us. The academy, the Moms Like Us Academy information will be in our notes. But anyways, all that to say, I have got someone to help us. Yes. And I love the way this nutritionist goes about dealing with moms and food and body image. And I hope that you will be blessed as we discuss the Mom Set Reset. Welcome to the Moms Like Us podcast, where moms just like you learn strategies, systems, and skills through expert interviews and real-life insight designed to take your marriage, mothering, and home to the expert level. Hi, I'm Mona Corwin, your mom mentor and host, author, international speaker, and the founder of the Moms Like Us Academy. I've been coaching moms for over 25 years, and I have some really good news for you. Motherhood isn't a natural talent. It's a skill, and you can learn it. You can crush it at motherhood instead of motherhood crushing you. So let's get to today's show. Friend, I was so excited when I found out about Grace Garrett and her way as a nutritionist, the way that she helps women. She also does pediatrics too, and helping with children and eating and physical stuff like that. I love her approach so much that I knew that she was the one that I wanted to speak to us on this issue. So let me give you a little bit of Grace's background so that you can know how really good she really is. Grace started out to become a dietitian at Purdue University, and she double majored in dietetics and nutrition, fitness, and in health. So she did the whole rounded thing of a person, and I think that's one of the things that makes Grace special. She moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where she was trained as a pediatric dietitian at Wisconsin's Children's Hospital, for those of you that are in Wisconsin. And she later moved to Washington, D.C. to serve as a pediatric dietitian and clinical nutritional manager at HSC Pediatric Center. That is a mouthful. But since she has had her first daughter, she has transitioned into a private practice, seeing all sorts of clients from pediatrics to eating disorders to prenatal and postnatal. Now, her passion to help clients heal their relationship with food and their bodies and feel confident and secure in how they are nourishing their body, and also find the joy in food and eating again. She lives in Alexandria, Virginia, with her husband Kirby and her daughter Autumn, and she has another little girl on the way in May. And I want you to welcome Grace to our show. Grace. Come, come
Hello.
up and see us. Oh, I got to put you in. Add you right. How are you,
Okay.
girl?
I'm good. How are you?
I am so good. I have to tell you, the minute I saw Temper Nutrition and all that they had, and I was like, this is it. This is what we as women have been missing. I have been
Hmm.
so frustrated, Grace. And how many times have you heard that when you started counseling a person? I have been so frustrated that they switch and then they tell you to do this. And just when you start liking it, then they
Yep.
switch and say, no, you can't do that. And then you're
Yep.
like, you know what? I'm just over it. I'm
Yep.
having pancakes this morning, period.
Totally. Yes, 100%. No, it's so funny because you saying that, like, I'm so frustrated. So many of the clients we see, that's exactly what they're coming in saying. It's like, I feel like I don't know how to eat. Like I have been on this journey. I know about food. I read this online and I'm just totally confused. Like, and what do I ever even remember knowing how to eat? Because there's been all these fad diets and
Yeah.
I just don't know what to do anymore. And I just feel frustrated. I'm not happy and confident in what I'm doing. I'm not happy in my body and help me basically.
And I really think that this is a national problem.
Oh, it
I
is.
As moms, we want to feed our families well. We want to, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we bring this stuff into the house. We want to know what we're doing isn't hurting them. And without being a food Nazi, we
Yeah.
want to have fun and, eat here and there incorrectly, but we don't even know what correct is anymore. I've
Yep.
changed these. Do you see my cookbooks up there?
Yes, I do.
This is the third set because, I'm switching all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think because there's so much information out there, it's like, where do I turn? And moms don't have time. Like, we're worried about nourishing our children and we want to give them the best stuff, but you cannot be an expert in every single area. Like, you cannot be a dietitian. Like, as you were reading my bio, like, it takes education to sift through all that stuff and realize, like, what's right. And so that's why it's important to have trusted people out there that you do feel confident in talking to and figuring out how can I make this easier and feel confident in what I'm doing for myself and my kids.
I can't thank you enough for focusing on the women part of it. And
Yeah,
today, we're going to be talking about, I already asked you to talk about intuitive eating, which I want this to be it so bad because as soon as I heard the word, I really did. I felt my shoulders relax. And then I
yeah.
want you to talk about body image. So, which one would you like to do first, Grace?
Let's talk about intuitive eating. I think
Okay.
that would be good. Um, so intuitive eating is you talk about Tepper Nutrition, the practice I work for. It's kind of the underlying thing behind everything we do. Even if we have clients who don't want to know about intuitive eating, we still are like thinking about the principles because it's just who we are. Um, and what it comes down to is basically getting back in touch with just listening to our body, which seems so foreign because all of these fad diets, everything you say, it's like, oh, you're hungry? No, don't listen to that. Like, you should push through that. Like, why would you? And it's getting back to the basics of like, no, like, if your body is hungry, you need nutrition. If your car runs out of gas, you fill it up. You don't say, no, go further. Getting back to those things at the same point, honoring our fullness. So, like, not eating past where we're feeling like, oh my gosh, I have to lie down and unbutton my pants. Like, I feel so sick. Feeling like, okay, I ate enough, I'm refueled, and like I'm ready to go. And also doing it in a way that is nourishing to our body at the same time.
So that just sounds really wonderful, but I'm just thinking that my body will be saying, "No, you need three more cookies." Because that's when the education goes along with the intuitive, correct?
Totally. And I will say it is really hard, and there's a growing pains with intuitive eating because so often what comes along is when we start talking to clients, they have been restricting for a long time, either restricting certain food groups or anything like that. And what that results in is when you finally get permission to eat it, you're like, oh, well, like I'm eating a ton of cookies. That does not last, okay? But it is the cycle, what we call the restrict binge cycle. You restrict yourself from doing something, and then when you finally let yourself have it, it's kind of a little
So
bit of
excited.
chaos.
Yeah.
But we help you navigate that. And then we help you learn how to honor your cravings. Like, make sure that what you're eating is very satisfying to you, but
Mhm.
also health promoting. Like, if you want a cookie in the afternoon, you're like, oh, a cookie sounds so nice. Okay, if that's going to be your snack, how do we add in some gentle nutrition into that? Like, what's some protein we could add to it? Like, could we add some produce? So instead of eating three cookies as a snack, maybe you have a cookie and a glass of milk and a banana. So it's more well rounded. You're still getting the cookie and honoring that craving so that later you don't binge eat three cookies, but you're also getting the nutrition from it as well.
You know, I had a cookie today, right?
Good. Good for you. And I'm sure you use gentle nutrition and
I
added
really
in.
did. Well, I really did
Really?
because I've talked to you before.
I
I mean,
love it. You're
I did.
awesome.
I did. I actually got a piece of protein, like a nice piece of
Totally.
protein. Yeah.
That's exactly it. Or even
Yeah.
like thinking about, if cookies are on your mind a lot, and sometimes we'll do things like having clients like add it to their lunch. Like if you're eating a nice, well rounded salad bowl or something like that with protein and whole grains and all this good stuff, like have a cookie on the side. That way you're not thinking about it later when you're starving or ravenously hungry and you go to the box and eat half the box.
Yeah. My daughter, my oldest daughter, makes the best sugar cookies. And there are some
Ooh.
left. And they're in that closet right over there.
I'm impressed that there's still some left. That's great.
Oh, yeah. But there really are. I've been really careful not to, but today I went, no, I'm gonna I'm gonna honor my desire to
I'm so
have.
proud of
And there's no
you.
frosting on them or anything. They're just she was really smart and
Yeah.
didn't do that to me. But yeah, my other daughter makes chocolate chip cookies and they're really good. And yeah, they're gone. We ate those at
Yeah.
Christmas. They're definitely gone.
I was gonna say, I mean, I'm impressed you still got some around, but it sounds like you did such a good job. I'm so impressed. That's awesome.
Thank you. You taught me. So, tell us what exactly we're talking about intuitive eating. So
Mhm.
that kind of rounds that out a little bit. I know it's a lot deeper than that. And when people come to you for counseling, then you really help them through it.
Yeah,
But
so basically intuitive eating is a 10-step principles. Like, so we kind of go through each principle and help you navigate it, and they're set up in a certain way as you do some of the mental work more at the beginning. That's really hard to break down some of that diet mentality.
mm,
And then you get back into your hunger and fullness, and then you start more thinking about like exercise as a part of intuitive eating, joyful movement, gentle nutrition, like I talked about, body image, which we'll talk about, coping with our feelings without going to food. So there's a lot to work through. As you said, it's much deeper, but we help guide you through the whole process.
and I want to encourage the moms that we spend money to have our kids learn piano and we want our kids to have like the newest and the best or whatever. It
Mm-hmm.
You can look at a mom and see that she hasn't had anything new bought for herself in a while. But her kids, like, they got the freshest
Totally.
haircut, I mean, which is fine because but we'll give to our kids before we will give to ourselves. But when it comes to something like this, that really is, I mean, it's a cliche, but it is a gift that we give to our kids by learning how to do that. And when we can't do it, the fastest way is to hire someone to coach you through it. I'm a
Mhm.
huge fan of coaching, that I am a coach and being a coach to mom because it's like, let's get to it. Like, let's
Yeah.
just get this behind us so we don't have to live this way so long. So, what is your favorite way to eat? Like, keto,
Ooh.
Mediterranean, like paleo, like
Mm,
what are all the ones? Vegetarian, like what is your favorite?
I will tell you this, none of them. Controversial, I know. Um, my favorite way to eat is honestly, and this is part of what we help you figure out, everybody's different. Everybody kind of runs on things that are different and help their body in different ways. I guess you could say I like plant forward eating, whole foods eating with a lot of joy and fun, uh, and not eliminating any food groups. So I love whole grains. I love like some lean protein in there and the occasional steak. You know, I love veggies cooked the way I like them, not just boring and bland. You know, fruits and good whole fat dairy or non fat dairy, depending on what's best for you. And delicious fun foods in there. I think the best way to eat isn't necessarily any of those diets. It's more just getting back to the basics of like, hey, these are like natural foods, and also we need to make room for fun. So, how do we get a balance of joy and nourishment to our body?
Yeah, and that's the way God made us. That is
Yep.
exactly the way God made us. So I another thing that I really love about what y'all do is you put these beautiful words in front of our hate words, you know, like intuitive eating
Yes.
and joyful stuff, you know, like
Yeah.
you use these beautiful, and those words really is that part of the mental process of re-looking at the way things
Totally.
our relationship with them.
Totally. Um, you know, and all of this is based off of like if anyone is just interested in reading more, the intuitive eating book, there's now the fourth edition out. I mean, it's wonderful. Like you will learn so much. And so this is all based on their book and their 10 principles. And you can become like certified and being an intuitive eating counselor and following their principles. But yeah, it is. It's those scary words like for some people, nutrition is a really scary word. And so, like, the thought of it being gentle, like, this does not have to be harsh and like these guidelines that you have to follow all the time. Like, thinking of it, you know, I talk a lot with my clients about the difference between preferences and rules. We can have preferences of how we like to eat and nourish our body. But when we don't have it, like Christmas morning, if there's cinnamon rolls, okay, enjoy the cinnamon roll. Like, have fun, make that memory with your family. It's okay if that's not your typical morning meal preference. When you get into the rules and harsh regulations, that's when you're like eating the cinnamon roll and feeling guilt and shame and all of that. And that's what we really want to take away and say, like, goodbye to guilt and shame.
That cannot possibly be good for you as you're digesting this stuff, right?
Exactly. Yes,
Like,
the stress it puts on your body and all of that.
I
Yeah,
mean, is
100%.
it stressful enough that we're shooting out cortisol?
For some people, very much so. Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's
So,
not good.
and that's it, right? Like, and that's one of the things we also talk about with clients is stress and its impact on our health and in our life, and talking about healthy coping mechanisms and all of that. So exactly, like so many people come so stressed out over eating, like just the freedom of me saying like, okay, well, like you can eat whatever you want is like, wait, what? Like I've never heard that before.
I love you.
Um, I know, right? It's like, yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
that's
So
awesome.
yes, it can be extremely stressful.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to body image and
Okay.
how y'all approach it and help us with our body images.
Yeah.
God created us and he wants us to be be pleased, and I teach on body image from God's perspective and looking at our
Right.
body as blessings and thanking our body for what it's done. But
Mhm.
what is your approach to this in
Mhm.
your intuitive eating and your counseling?
Yeah, I mean, very similar. You know, not all of our clients that we see may have a faith. I love working with clients who do because, like you were saying, there is such a connection there that we can talk about body image in that way. Um, I think body image is really hard. A lot of women, it's something they struggled with their whole life. And so there's usually a lot to unpack there. I mean, I meet with women of all ages, and sometimes it's like the first time. I mean, I just had probably a client in her 50s talking to me and crying to me over body image earlier this week in one of our sessions and being like, I've never taken the time to talk through this and like just process how much this hurts and how hard it's been. So I think a lot of it is processing and thinking about the root of our body image. A word I like or phrase I talk a lot about with clients is body image triggers. Um, Looking out in our daily life as to all of a sudden, like, I'm feeling really bad about my body. What just happened? Okay, well, were you just scrolling social media for 30 minutes and comparing yourself? Were you just trying on a pair of jeans you know hasn't fit you in months, but you keep in your closet and make yourself try on? Or is there like an ill-placed mirror in your house that we just need to move it? Like every time, you're passing it, you're judging yourself or anything like that. So,
And
we would
those mirrors aren't all the same.
Oh, of course.
I got one at
Exactly.
Home Goods. Put it up in my front entry. And every time I went out of there, I'm like, this looks like one of those clown things at the circus.
Yeah.
Did I not leave that thing up for a full year? And then finally, I'm like, that thing is coming down. And
Yes,
it's going in the
exactly.
trash. Big trash stays here. That's going in there. And I went and got a really tall one. And I made
Good for
sure I looked
you.
really long.
Good for you. Exactly. But sometimes like
True.
it's something as silly as that. So really like examining the body image relationship, thinking about kind of your body image story and where that all started. Um, Thinking about our body image triggers, changing how we talk to ourselves. Um, and what I like to tell clients is like your body image is never going to be perfect. Okay. Like, we're all going to struggle. We're all going to have days where it's just like, I'm not feeling this, this is kind of hard. But what we want to do is get to a point where those days are fewer and further between. And when something does happen, it doesn't keep us down as long. Um, and so something we talk a lot about is like body neutrality, getting to the point where it doesn't have to be all body positive. Like, look at me. Like, I'm now such a body positive person. I mean, if so, that's great. But more just getting to a place where we can be neutral with ourselves and say, like, okay, like, this is my body. Like, it's done so many amazing things for me. Whether for some of the moms out there, it did birth children. Like for other moms, it's taking care of those children, like doing amazing things, arms to hold their kids, like a soft place to land, and trying to find the beauty in that.
That is really, really beautiful. That is really beautiful. What are some of the reasons that we have this warped body image besides comparing ourselves to social media? I mean,
Yeah.
you talk to a lot of women. What's like the most common?
Um, Most common, honestly, it's usually, and this is a great message for all the moms out there to hear. Um, so often, sadly, it comes from family, something that's passed down. For some clients, it's like a doctor's comment or something like that. But a lot of times, it is a passed down thing where, um, girls grew up watching their moms dieting, making negative comments about their body, always being like, oh, I can't eat that. I need to lose weight. Or, oh no, like, oh, I feel so fat. Like making those comments, well, that's passed down to your child, whether it's a girl or a boy, but especially if it's another girl, like they're going to be like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to feel about my body. I'm supposed to not like it. I'm supposed to think, ugh, like I want to change it, which is just so sad and devastating. And actually, I get so many clients that are new moms and coming and being like, you know what? I want to work through this right now because I do not want to pass this on to my kids what happened to me. Like
Yeah,
the cycle stops here.
yeah. Stop those generations. Sometimes they're generational curses, and
Oh, totally.
sometimes they're generational habits. And
Yeah.
we do have to just kind of cut them. Yeah, this is
Mm-hmm.
interesting. I should ask none of my girls, I don't think, no, well, they probably do because they live in the culture that we're in. But I would be interested to know whether they felt that way about me because
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much have kept all of that out of their lives on
Yeah.
purpose, whereas
Yeah.
I would not talk about those kind of things with them. And what I told myself was, they're not they're not my age. They're not the
Yeah.
people I should be talking to. And they shouldn't
Yeah.
hear me talk about that. They wouldn't hear me talk about, sex with their dad.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
don't talk about that in front of them. I shouldn't be talking
Mm-hmm.
about this in front of them. So
Mm-hmm.
that's it's not very scientific, but it's what helped me get through the whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, because my
Yeah.
mom was the same. And
Yeah.
she was a
And
beautiful woman. She was beautiful.
yeah, exactly. So I think, that is one of when we were talking about intuitive eating, you were just talking about how like this, like getting on this and fixing your relationship with food and your body can be such a gift to your children. And 100%, like it can be one of the best things you do because if they see you empowered, like not stressing over food, like nourishing your body in a way that makes you feel really good, nourishing them, like, and see you, sure, like talking about your body in a positive way or neutral way, like, not bashing it, not saying negative things, that is going to get passed down to them. And it's one of the greatest gifts. I mean, yeah, every single probably client I see, like who comes to me, we work with a ton of eating disorder clients.
Yeah.
It's so often
And is that
stems.
is that really prevalent right now? The eating disorders? Is it worse than ever? Yeah.
COVID was really, really bad for
Oh,
eating
really?
disorders. Yeah, it was really bad because
Hmm.
kids were at home, there was social media, TikTok started, and it's
Yeah.
just, I think a lot of these kids, they were home for so long and then they went back to school, and a lot of them at that age where a lot of bodies changed, like they were home for like a year and a half, and they came back and it's like everyone looks different, I look different, like I haven't been at this critical teenage age around other people yet.
Mhm.
Some kids like had nothing else to do, and so they got fixated on something, and it was something they could control. Control's a big issue for eating disorder. So when their whole life is feeling like this is all out of control, I can control this one thing. So yeah, we saw a huge boost um, in eating disorder diagnoses, and sadly too, like treatment options were fewer and further between because of COVID. And so yeah, it's been
Yeah.
hard.
Oh. Well, I know as moms, we want to do it right. And
Yeah.
with people like you available and the wonderful work that you're doing with Temper and in your own practice, I'm so grateful that you're there. And I know that moms just like us, really do want to kick this. And
Mm-hmm.
so keep up your good work. Thank you so much for
Oh,
coming on today and encouraging
of
our moms.
course.
I really love spending time with you. We've already
Oh,
done the master class, and
yeah,
it's really good about children nutrition and picky eaters and all of that too. So I know that you can teach, and I know that you have wisdom. And so thank you for coming on and doing such a broad sweep with us here
of
today. I
course.
appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Okay, moms. Now, we heard it from someone who's very, very knowledgeable, and we can do this. Moms like us, we've got to learn how to do this. We've got to learn how to look at our bodies as a gift from God, but we have to learn how to nourish it properly. And there's all kinds of aspects to this. And if you're having trouble, then you can DM me or you can contact someone like Grace Garrett. And I have all of her information in our show notes. And I just want you to know your body is a gift from God, and your arms that held babies and your bellies that carried them and your laps that give so much love and comfort to the children that you have, they really just love you. They really don't know. They really just love you. So love them by conquering this. And anyways, moms like us, we got to do things like this. And when we do, we want you to be there. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.